So, what if the secret to doing really well in an interview wasn't having the perfect answer, but simply giving your interviewer a clear, easy-to-read map?
I like that. A map to your skills.
Exactly. Today, we are exploring how to prepare for a Micro1 AI interview. And if you are listening to this right now, you might actually be getting ready for your very first interview of this kind.
Which is exciting, but yeah, it can be a little nerve-wracking too.
For sure. It is a newer way to do things. And honestly, a lot of beginners are just very curious about this whole process. You might not know exactly what to expect.
Right, and that feeling of uncertainty is completely normal. Any new format can feel, a bit unfamiliar at first.
Yeah, totally.
But we really want to share a calm, practical way for you to prepare today. Because the most important thing to remember is that an AI interview is still just an interview.
Right.
The goal is simply to understand your skills.
Hmm.
So our objective today is not to give you some secret list of exact questions to memorize.
Because memorizing rigid answers just doesn't work.
Exactly. Instead, we want to help you practice giving clear, structured, and confident answers.
So let's unpack that right away, because before we go any further, we have to establish a very crucial rule for you.
Yes, this is important.
Every single Micro1 interview may be different. There is no magic list of questions that everyone gets.
Exactly. The questions you receive will depend entirely on a few unique things.
Like what?
Well, they depend on the specific role you are applying for, your personal resume, your past experiences, and even how the specific company set up the interview.
So just to be crystal clear to everyone listening, this conversation today is a practical guide.
Right.
It is based on common interview patterns and beginner-friendly preparation. It is absolutely not a guaranteed list of what you will be asked.
Think of it more like building strong communication habits rather than cramming for a standardized test.
I actually like to think of it like packing for a trip where the weather might change.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, you don't just pack one heavy winter coat, because if the sun comes out, you're in trouble.
You'd be sweating.
Exactly. Instead, you pack versatile layers. You pack skills and experiences that you can mix and match, depending on what the day brings.
That makes total sense.
In any interview, you don't want one rigid, memorized paragraph. You want flexible, clear stories. That way, you are ready to answer whatever question comes your way.
That is a really brilliant way to look at it. You are organizing your professional layers so you can pull out exactly what you need right when you need it.
So let's start with the most natural opening of almost any interview in the world.
The classic first question.
Yep. You will probably hear something very close to, tell me about yourself.
A very common one.
So why is this specific question so universally important?
Well, what's fascinating about tell me about yourself is that it often serves as the foundation for everything else. It is usually the very first question, which means it sets the tone for the entire conversation. It transitions the interaction from a simple greeting to a professional discussion.
It sets your baseline.
Exactly. It gives the listener a baseline context of who you are.
I can see how that can feel overwhelming for a beginner, though.
Well,
It is such a broad question.
It is.
People often start rambling about, where they grew up or their hobbies or what they had for breakfast. So how does a beginner answer this clearly?
It is very easy to fall into that rambling trap, but you really want to keep your answer highly focused.
So how do we do that? I think a great answer follows a simple structure,
Yeah.
right? First, you start with your background, just a quick summary. Second, you mention relevant skills or experiences.
Right.
And third, and this is crucial, you connect those experiences directly to the role you want right now.
That is the perfect formula.
And how long should that take?
Ideally, you keep it short and clear. About 30 to 45 seconds is perfect.
Wow. Okay, so really short. It shouldn't be a complete biography of your whole life.
Not at all.
It is more like a movie trailer for your professional life.
I love that. A movie trailer.
Yeah, you are sharing just the most relevant highlights. You want to make them interested enough to ask more questions.
That is exactly right. You are giving them the best parts of your experience, especially chosen for the job you want.
Could you give us a sample answer? Let's say you are applying for a customer support role. Just a simple, calm example.
Sure. It might sound something like this. Hello. For the past 2 years, I have worked in retail where my main focus was helping customers and solving their daily problems.
Okay, that's the background.
Right. Then I would say, during that time, I developed strong communication skills and learned how to stay calm in busy situations.
The skills.
Yep. And finally, the connection. I am very interested in this customer support role because it allows me to use my problem-solving skills in a digital environment, and I am excited to bring my experience to your team.
That flows so well. You hit the background, the skills, and the connection all in about 30 seconds.
It keeps things moving.
And once you have given them that movie trailer overview, the focus usually shifts, right?
Precisely. After that initial icebreaker, the interview will naturally move into more specific, practical areas.
So it focuses less on traditional behavioral questions like, what is your biggest weakness?
Exactly. It focuses much more on your tangible, practical skills. The goal is to understand what you can actually do on a typical workday.
Let's discuss the types of questions that might come up. Again, for everyone listening, remember, you may be asked these or you may not.
Right, it varies.
But one possible question could be about your specific resume. What might that sound like?
A common type of question focused on your background might be, I see on your resume that you worked at company X for a year. Can you describe your main daily responsibilities there?
So wait, if they ask about my resume, I shouldn't just read my entire job description, right?
Definitely not.
That would take forever. I should probably just highlight the 2 or 3 things that actually matter for this new role.
You hit the nail on the head. You want to be direct. You could simply say, my main responsibility was organizing the daily schedule for a team of 10, and I also handled all incoming customer emails.
Keep it very direct.
Yes, direct and relevant.
That makes a lot of sense. What about questions that dig into your specific skills?
You might hear something like, you mentioned you have experience with data entry. How do you ensure your data is accurate?
For a question like that, you really want to focus on your process. You want to show you have a reliable system, right?
Exactly.
You could say, I always double-check my work before submitting it, and I use built-in software tools to catch simple errors. It shows you work smart.
That is a great answer. Another category you should be prepared for involves questions about specific tools or tasks.
Like things you mentioned in your application.
Exactly. For instance, one possible question is, can you explain how you use spreadsheet software to track inventory?
Again, practicality is key here. Just keep it grounded in reality. A beginner could say, I use spreadsheets to create lists of our products, and I update the numbers at the end of every shift.
Yes, just a simple, clear explanation of your daily reality.
What about problem solving?
Simple problem-solving scenarios are very common. It might sound like this. Imagine a customer is upset because their order is late. What is the first step you would take to help them?
Oh, I think for a beginner, the absolute best approach here is to show a balance of empathy and action.
Empathy and action. I like that.
Empathy shows you understand the person, and action shows you can fix the issue.
Right.
So you can answer, first, I would sincerely apologize for the delay. Then I would immediately look up their order number in the system to find out exactly where the package is.
That is a wonderful response because it is logical and step-by-step.
Yeah.
Next, you may be asked highly role-specific questions. If you are applying for a content writing job, a common question could be, how do you check your writing for mistakes before you publish it?
For that, you just describe your routine. I read my writing out loud to hear how it flows, and then I run it through a grammar tool. It proves you have a professional standard.
Exactly.
Now, what about questions regarding how you handle completely new tasks? Things you don't know how to do yet.
The adaptability question. That is a big one. It might be framed like, if your manager gives you a project, but you do not know how to complete one of the steps, what would you do?
The key here is showing you are resourceful. You don't want to sound helpless, but you also don't want to sound arrogant.
Right. You need a balance.
A beginner can say, first, I would try to find the answer myself by looking at manuals or searching online.
Yes. Show initiative first.
But if I still couldn't figure it out after a short time, I would organize my questions and ask a teammate for guidance. It shows you know when to ask for help before wasting hours of time.
It is the perfect balance of independence and teamwork. Finally, you might get questions about your working style, motivation, or availability. For example, what type of work environment helps you be the most productive?
I think the only rule here is to be honest, but keep it positive. I work best in a quiet environment where I can really focus, but I also enjoy having a team chat open to stay connected.
Notice what all of those example answers have in common.
They are simple.
Yes, they are clear, honest, and incredibly easy to understand.
I want to push back on one thing, though. Just a really honest, real-world beginner question.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's say the interviewer asks about a specific tool or software that you simply do not know. You have never even heard of it. Should you try to guess? Or pretend you know it?
No, Absolutely not. Honesty is your strongest asset here.
Really? Even if it feels like you're failing the question.
Yes. Pretending to know a tool is a terrible idea because if they ask a follow-up question, your story falls apart immediately.
That's true.
And even if you somehow get the job, you will be expected to use a tool you don't understand.
Okay, I agree, faking it is bad, but how do you actually say, I don't know, clearly, without sounding underqualified?
You pivot. You state honestly that you do not know the tool, but you immediately explain how you would learn it.
Oh, that makes sense.
You could say, I haven't used that specific software before. However, I learned new digital tools very quickly. In my last job, I had to learn a new scheduling system from scratch, and I did it in 2 days by watching tutorials. I would take that exact same approach to learn this tool.
That is such a powerful strategy. You take a negative and turn it into a positive. You show you are eager and capable of learning.
Exactly. Knowing the types of questions is helpful, but having a simple strategy for how to answer is what keeps you calm under pressure.
Structure is your best friend when the nerves kick in. Let's talk about that structure. We really need to discuss simple answer strategies.
I agree.
First, always answer the question directly at the very beginning. Don't build up to the answer with a long backstory.
This is so critical.
Yeah.
If the question is, do you prefer working alone or on a team? Do not start by talking about your childhood. Start by saying, I prefer working on a team. Give the direct answer immediately, then explain why.
Second, give one specific example if possible.
Yes.
Third, do not ramble. When you finish your thought, simply stop talking. Silence is okay.
It shows confidence.
Fourth, speak clearly and slowly.
And to tie all of those together, we recommend a very simple structure. We call it answer, example, result.
Answer, example, result. It's so clean. You know, earlier I was thinking about rambling. Rambling in an interview is a lot like driving without a map.
Driving without a map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You eventually get lost and run out of gas. A simple structure like answer, example, result is your map to staying on track.
That is a fantastic analogy. Clear structure matters. If you drive off topic, the core message gets lost.
Right. The answer, example, result structure gives them the clear picture right away. Now, there's another method people might hear about when researching interviews. It's called the STAR method.
Yes, the STAR method. STAR. Situation, task, action, result.
It is very famous.
It is, but I want to offer a word of caution to beginners. Do not make your whole interview about behavioral tricks.
You don't want to sound like a robot.
Exactly. STAR is really only helpful if a question specifically asks you to tell a story about a past experience. Not every single question needs STAR.
That is a huge relief. You don't need a heavy, complex story for every sentence.
No, a simple, direct answer, example, result is often much better.
Okay, to prove how simple and effective these strategies actually are, let's do a quick mini role play.
I love this idea. I am ready.
I will play the interviewer, you play the candidate. You are going to answer slowly and clearly using the beginner strategies we just discussed.
Sounds good. I will keep it structured.
Let's jump in. Question 1. Hello, please tell me about yourself.
Thank you. I have spent the last 3 years working in administrative roles, mostly organizing data and managing schedules. In my last job, I became very skilled at using spreadsheet software, and I regularly handled customer questions over email. I am really interested in this data entry position because I enjoy detailed work and I want to bring my organizational skills to your company.
Okay, let's break that down. Notice what just happened there. It was exactly that 30 to 45-second window. You started with the background, highlighted specific skills, and connected it right to the data entry role.
The movie trailer.
Exactly. Flawless movie trailer. Let's keep it going. Question 2. What skills or experience do you have that relate to this role?
I have strong attention to detail. For example, in my previous job, I was responsible for checking all outgoing invoices for errors. To make sure I didn't miss anything, I created a simple digital checklist to review each document. As a result, we reduced our billing errors to almost 0 over 6 months.
Okay, that was a textbook example of the answer, example, result map. You answered directly, attention to detail.
Right.
You gave an example, checking invoices with a new checklist. And you gave a tangible result, reduced errors to 0. And the best part, you just stopped talking.
Silence is powerful. Once you deliver the result, your job is done.
Let's do one final role play question. Question 3. If you are given a task you have never done before, how would you handle it?
If I am given a completely new task, I focus on learning the steps systematically. First, I would review any manuals provided to see if I can figure it out myself. For example, last year I was asked to use a new project management tool I had never seen before. I spent 1 hour watching tutorial videos. By doing that, I was able to set up the project correctly. However, if I truly couldn't find the answer on my own, I would gather my questions and then ask a teammate for help.
That is fantastic. It is honest, step-by-step, and shows great judgment. You proved your first instinct is to try and solve it yourself.
Which employers love.
Exactly, but you also showed you aren't afraid to ask for help if you are truly stuck. You proved it all with a brief, specific example.
It communicates that you are an independent worker, but also a team player.
So, bringing this practice role play back to your own upcoming preparation journey, we really want to offer some warm encouragement to beginners.
Yes, preparing for an interview can feel stressful, but it truly does not have to be.
It really doesn't. Just remember the core rules we discussed today. First, do not try to memorize fake, exact questions. Pack versatile layers of skills instead.
Second, prepare flexible answers.
Yep. Third, know your own resume inside and out. Fourth, be honest about your skills. Never pretend to know a tool you don't know.
Just explain how you would learn it.
And finally, speak clearly and slowly.
At the end of the day, confidence and clarity matter far more than having a complex answer. Take a deep breath before you answer. Think about your structure, then speak.
That is wonderful advice. I want to leave you with a final provocative thought to ponder as you prepare.
Oh, I'm curious.
Think about it. Practicing for a structured, clear interview like this doesn't just help you get a job, it actually trains you to be a much clearer, more effective communicator in your everyday professional life.
That is a profound way to look at it. You are refining the very skills that make you valuable in any job.
Exactly. So, as you go into your interview, remember the movie trailer. Use your structure and be confident. You are going to do great.